Hello, welcome to another episode of Best Cafes in Korea. Today we're going to be visiting a few cafes. We're in Mapo and we're in Sangsu area of Mapo. Let's check out the first cafe, amusingly named Gaff. In case you don't know, Gaff is colloquial British English for somebody's house. The interior is spacious and open plan. Light pours in from the open facade. The space is decorated with vintage knickknacks. It gives a retro feel with a nod to the noughties. As well as cheesecake and banana bread, I was intrigued by one menu item. A small cake in the display labeled lamington cake. I had never heard of a lamington cake, so I had to do a quick Google. It turns out lamington cake is a traditional Australian cake with around 100 years of history. I haven't seen this cake offered in any of the countries I've traveled to so far. Perhaps any Australians watching this episode might know about it. Lamington cake consists of sponge cake with chocolate sauce on the outside, rolled in desiccated coconuts. It reminds me a little of other British classic cakes such as Victoria sponge cake, but definitely has its own unique flavour. The lamington cake in this cafe is well portioned and easy for one person to finish alone. As for the coffee, in this first stop, I went for an iced Americano, which here is a good size and quite refreshing. Winter in South Korea is actually very cold, but I'm still not inclined to switch over to hot drinks. And I'm not alone. Most people go for iced Americano even in winter here. The music in this place is very chill and enjoyable. Of course, YouTube does not allow people to keep the music in their videos, so I won't be able to share that with you, which is a shame because every cafe blasts pretty loud music here. For more information about this cafe, see the information on screen right now. It's time to move to the second cafe of the day. This next cafe is very nearby the first one. Insole has a stylish exterior. The building looks like a new build. Note the sign says pet friendly. I'm not sure what kind of pets are welcome, but posters on the exterior advertise their baked goods inside. As you push through the glass doors, you'll be greeted with a clean and modern exterior. The interior has many Scandinavian design elements, and you might feel as though you're in an art gallery. I love the simplicity and the vintage retro style. At the front counter, there's a whole array of baked goods, as well as some other bits and bobs available for sale. The cakes on offer are quite heavy pound cakes, and I usually prefer lighter and fluffier cakes. The drinks menu contains some interesting specialties. So after choosing a pound cake, I order a Einspanner. Einspanner is super trendy these days in Korea. You can find it on most menus at most cafes. What was unique about this one though is the cream they used is Earl Grey infused. The creamy head is so smooth and you have to stir it before you drink. It might sound like an unusual flavor combination, tea flavors with coffee, but it works really, really well. I like when these places give you a little card which gives you information about the coffee blend that they use or the special drink that they've made for you. The tasting note for this one is dark chocolate, almond, and caramel. I'm yet to find a way of drinking these creamy coffees in a non-messy way. I feel like at this point I've just accepted my fate and I'm just gonna go for it. I didn't realize until I ordered the coffee itself actually comes with these little slices of sponge cake, which are great when dipped into the Earl Grey cream. And I haven't even got started on the main cake yet. Now it's time to try the pound cake. These types of cakes are really popular back in Europe, but traditionally Korean cafes have opted for more lighter and fluffier cakes. So it's surprising to see a reversal of the trend. For me, they're a little bit heavy and I wasn't able to finish the entire thing in one sitting. Of course, you can always get a takeout box and you can take the rest home. I'm not one to waste food, that's for sure. You can offset the dryness of something like a pound cake by dipping it into the cream of the coffee, which really adds to the experience and the fun. And in this case, it paired really well with that kind of Earl Grey flavored cream and then a plain sponge. I really like the interior of this one and the calm piano music that was playing in the background. Again, you can see my guide on the screen right now. Hopefully this gives you a little bit more information about the cafe and what I thought. And it's time to move on to the third cafe for this episode. Cafe number 3 is called Protocol. You can see from the exterior it's located in a dedicated new build, and each floor is part of the cafe. The entrance to the cafe is on the ground floor, and there's some additional seating upstairs, but it was completely full when I arrived. Through the sliding doors, you'll find a workshop-style interior. Despite it being such a busy and popular cafe, they had one barista working, but she's incredibly expert and professional.
라떼 종류는 블렌드 2가지 사용 중이에요. 그리고 나머지는 이제 싱글인데 필터 커피 드실 때 선택 가능하세요.
The barista explained with a great deal of technicality the differences between their different blends. Pour-over filter coffee would be a great option here. The 3D menu gives you a great preview of the cakes on offer. After grinding the beans, the barista gave me the ground beans to smell. This place is really for those with a high-level appreciation of coffee. A slice of chocolate pound cake with raspberry compote arrives first. It came with its own information card detailing that it was part of a collaboration with another patisserie. This allows them to just focus on the coffee in-house. I went for an iced coffee here, and the blend I chose was really surprising, actually. It was my first time to experience a coffee that had such a fruity and tropical note to it. The coffee blend is a mix of Colombia El Canto, pink bourbon, and honey dragon eye. This fruity mix paired really well with the tartness and sweetness of the compote, the raspberry compote, drizzled over the chocolate pound cake. There are really not many cafes that are advanced enough to give you a similar experience to something like a wine tasting. Despite its modest and compact footprint, this building actually has a second and a third floor. The spaces on the second and third floor have loads of light pouring in and make for a comfortable space for people looking to get some work done and be a bit productive, or just to sit with someone special in a well-divided and private space. Additional information about this cafe is on the screen now. Now it's time to move to the fourth cafe for this video. This cafe is called Venni. It has a simple purple exterior. Inside you'll find a homely and eclectic interior, with dream catchers swinging and many soft furnishings. Let's take a glance at the cake cabinet and see what's on offer. With so many pretty looking cakes, it was quite a tough decision. This cafe is very popular with locals and is absolutely packed full. Despite it being quite busy inside, the food and drink arrived promptly. The drink is an Einspanner, which is very popular these days, and I've gone for this one in many of the cafes I've visited recently. This Einspanner was super creamy, as it should be, and it's super satisfying to just mix in the cream. This one was absolutely overflowing with cream by the time I finished mixing it in. After some serious mixing, it's time to enjoy both the drink and the slice of cake. This cake is an Earl Grey cake. Earl Grey cakes are very popular in this region, but quite ironically, I have not seen an Earl Grey cake in Britain before, despite Earl Grey, of course, being a very traditional British tea. After tidying up some of the cream overflow, it's time to actually try the food and drink. The Einspanner here is quite pleasant, as is the cake, and together they just make for a good pairing. To get the most out of an Einspanner, you really have to give it a vigorous stir and ensure that that cream is well infused with the coffee. Otherwise, there'll be too much separation and you'll have just kind of darker coffee on the bottom and lots of cream on the top. The flavoring on the Earl Grey cake is quite subtle. It doesn't have an overwhelming tea flavor that some Earl Grey cakes might have. And I'll put an information guide for this cafe too on the screen right about now, so you can see some of my additional thoughts on the cafe itself. But finally, it's time to check out the last cafe for this episode. Cafe number 5 is a little bit different. Anthracite is a well-known small chain of cafes here in Seoul. I say small chain because they have around 5 branches, including one in Jeju Island. The building has a really industrial warehouse conversion type vibe, quite rustic. And with 2 floors, this one is very large, much larger than the other cafes featured in this episode. Despite its size, this one is also incredibly popular and it's still difficult to get a seat at the weekends in this branch. As well as offering their own ground coffee, they also have cold brews available in the fridge. After ordering, I wandered upstairs to one of the main seating areas, which you can see is absolutely full of people. I noticed they even have an outdoor terrace, which would be really nice in summer. My order for this one is very simple, an iced Americano and a cheesecake. This cheesecake is a rare cheesecake, which is a style of cheesecake popularized in Japan, which is totally no bake and contains yogurt, so it has a bit more of an acidic flavor. The slice is quite thick and substantial. The iced Americano is pretty standard and drinkable. Not particularly notable for its coffee, but it does make for a nice alternative to the larger franchise coffee shops that you find around Seoul. But I do recommend the cheesecake, really great cheesecake here. And if you'd like some more information about this cafe, I will put my little guide on the screen right now. Thanks for watching this episode of Best Cafes in Korea. And I just wanted to say I'm really enjoying filming this series for you guys, and I'm having a lot of fun discovering all these neighborhood cafes here in Seoul, and just feeling really grateful to live in a city that has just so many cool places to hang out, so many cool cafes, so many delicious things to eat. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you tune into the next episode, which is coming really soon.